If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims.
Welcome to this week's episode of Zen Success. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Rodger Friedman. Hi, Rodger.
Oh, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So let me share a little bit about Rodger. He is a fiscal conservative, former senior vice president of Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, and a chartered retirement planning counselor.
Yes, it's a mouthful. Yeah.
Yes. I actually worked with Morgan Stanley back in the day before they were acquired, doing ergonomics.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about ergonomics is my chair should be ergonomic.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think about that. From this no-nonsense background, he sees the world from a clear-eyed perspective and feels duty-bound to do all that he can to help put the nation he loves, America, back on track. That's a wonderful passion, Rodger.
Thank you.
His new book, Erasing America, Broken Politics, Broken Country, will help galvanize concerned Americans to get off their couches and get to work to get America back on the right track. Welcome, Rodger. So happy to connect with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is more here, but I think I'm going to. There's a little bit more about your book. So I am going to introduce you a little bit more. Rodger is a proud member of the Sons of the American Legion and actively supports charities that assist first responders and military families. Some books that he's written include Forging Bonds of Steel, How to Build a Successful and Lasting Relationship with Your Financial Advisor, Fire Your Retirement Planner, You. Okay, you've got them already. The Mindset of Retirement Success, which is what attracted me to you and I wanted to talk about in our interview.
Sure.
Parents' Guide to Your Child's Retirement and 18 Wealth Lessons that will transform your thinking. So tell me a little bit about your mindset book and what inspired it.
Well, when I wrote the mindset book in 2017, and then the 18 Wealth Rules book in 2022, foremost in my mind was to provide practical ideas that would serve as a roadmap of sorts, maybe a framework, so people could get a sense of what it looks like to tune out all the noise out there. Because if you turn on social media or the television, what you're going to get is noise on volume 10. What I wanted to focus on was willingness, accountability, and goal attainment.
Because a lot of the media might also be inaccurate information to help us not be wealthy.
So as I was writing this book, The Mindset of Retirement Success, I came across a phenomenal quote by Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics, and he said this: "What is opportunity and when does it knock? It never knocks. You can wait a whole lifetime listening, hoping, and you will hear no knocking. None at all. You are opportunity, and you must knock on the door leading to your own destiny." Carissa, I could not put it better if I sat at a computer for 10 years trying to type something that is better than that.
Yeah, and that book is really interesting. I mean, what is cybernetics?
So I read it many, many years ago.
Yeah.
It's basically taking personal responsibility for your life
Okay.
because so many people are waiting for permission.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
So
do
that's the
better when
point of the
I
quote. That's the
fill in
point of
the
the quote. Don't wait.
yeah. And the fact is you have to be your own change agent. No one's going to anoint you. No one's going to put you up on a pedestal. No one's going to give you $1 million and say, go get him, champ. You have to take responsibility.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
The person
Pave
that
your
looks
own
back in the
path.
mirror every morning. Yeah.
Hmm.
If you want to be mad at somebody, Carissa, be mad at that person in the mirror and give them a piece of your mind.
Or inspire them, motivate them.
Yes. Yes.
So, uh, what about how is a wealth mindset different from middle class or poor mindset?
Well, one of the things that I learned along the way is most people never considered the idea of becoming wealthy. It just never crosses their mind. And one
They're
of the
just trying to
questions,
get by and they're
yeah,
reacting.
yeah.
Mhm.
And one of the questions I ask is, when was the last time, mind you, I know the answer already. When was the last time you picked up a book and read the book with the word wealth in the title? Generally, the answer is never. So they have never cracked a book on how to become wealthy. Now, one of the things that I did after I wrote the sequel to Mindset, which is 18 wealth lessons that will transform your thinking, why prosperity seldom taps you on the shoulder after years of anti-wealth programming. How's that for a subtitle? And what I
Yeah,
did,
that's a mouthful as well.
well, but I
I
thought it
need to
was
get
important.
that book.
Thank you. So I created a list of 18 wealth lessons suggested reading list. And these are 25 books that I've read, many of them over and over again, to focus your thinking on what is possible. Because, for example, I've been a retirement wealth strategist for about 40 years. And I started with the name, you might know it. It's called E.F. Hutton. Do you remember that name?
Mm-mm.
You're too
I mean,
young.
it sounds familiar, but I don't
Okay.
know who he is, sir.
So at E.F. Hutton and Shearson, I remember when I started in the early 80s, they said, if you've been here diligently working after 5 to 7 years and you're only earning $100,000, you're failing. And I want you to think about that for a minute because most of the country does not earn six figures. Yet this is a industry where if you're earning 100, you're doing relatively poorly compared to your peer group. Okay.
Because of commissions, you need to be
Well,
there.
fees, commissions,
Hmm.
insurance, but total income, if you're earning 100, you're basically in the last quintile. Okay. You're nowhere near the head of the pack. And I thought about that. And I'm like, wait a second. What everyone else thinks as doing very, very well,
Hmm.
here you're on the cusp of being fired.
Mm.
And that's a mind shift. And what I started to do was to read a lot of books on wealth and money. So let me ask you, if you wanted to become an attorney, you'd read law books. Am I correct?
Yeah.
If you wanted to become a doctor, you'd be reading medical books. You see where I'm going here.
Hmm.
If you want to become wealthy, you read books on money. And it's not rocket science. It's kind of like follow the path. you're not the first one to think, oh, can I be wealthy? There are people that came before you. And I'm not talking Rockefeller. Tony Robbins has written a number of books on this, demystifying, the wealth journey. But so many people, and I credit Jim Rohn with so much of what I learned because he was a foremost business philosopher. He passed away a couple years ago. Many called him a motivational expert. But have you ever heard of Drive Time University?
No.
Okay. So in the era of cassettes and also in CDs, I had these learning programs in my car every day on my commute to and from work. I didn't listen to the disc jockey. I didn't listen to jazz or rock and roll. I listened to conferences and teachings from, some of the best people out there with motivation, with wealth, goal setting, etc., from Brian Tracy on down. And I did that for probably 7 to 8 years. Okay. And it gets in your bones, Carissa. Okay.
Yeah.
And
You
so I could
become
have a
that. You
discussion with
become that
you.
education.
I don't need any notes for this discussion. I could talk off the cuff for about 5 hours, before I have to go to the bathroom. Okay. But, you have to get that mindset that it is possible. And you need to have the willingness to do that because no one's going to grant it to you. Aunt Mabel is not going to die and leave you $2 million. Sorry, ain't going to happen. But that doesn't mean you can't make it happen yourself.
Or if it does happen, you might lose it right away because you don't know what to do with it.
Oh, yeah. I've seen so many people dabble their way to the poorhouse. Okay.
Uh-huh.
You read about these people that win the lottery
Yeah.
and several years later, they're broke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they needed a white tiger with a diamond necklace and a diamond leash. Who wouldn't?
Right.
Right.
Well, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door.
Oh, yes, Tom Stanley. I
That
listened
that
to
kind
him
of
on
blew
tape
my
also.
mind. Yeah.
Yes.
And how a lot of the wealthy people don't flaunt their money. They
Yep.
invest smart. I
The
know many
millionaire next door.
billionaires
Yeah.
that they just wear t-shirts, they drive regular cars. I mean,
They drive a Ford. By the way, you need to read all of Tom Stanley's books.
okay.
Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago, but William Danko, his co-author, is still around and still makes a big fuss. But there's a specific book for women. I think it's called like The Millionaire Woman Next Door, if I remember correctly. But
Okay.
all of his books are wonderful primers for understanding and behaving appropriately with money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like when you say behaving appropriately, do you mean not reacting or overspending? What does that mean?
Well, let me just give you three examples. Two of them are from Mr. Wonderful, who was on TV the other week, and he was saying, avoid stupid. Okay. So, and I've seen this in offices that I've worked at for 25 years. People come in, and when I say people, I'm saying not rich people, people that work in the office who are not rich. They come in with their Starbucks, whatever it's called, Venti, Rapidappa, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $5 or $6 or $7, depending on where they live. And they might go out to lunch, get a sandwich, a burger, a wrap, whatever, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, $12. Okay. Now I love coffee. I don't know about you. I love coffee. And every morning I make myself a cup with my Melita coffee filter. I buy 5 pounds from my favorite roasting facility. Shout out for my Yorga in Rockville, Maryland. You guys are great. I've been their client for 30 years, Carissa,
Oh my
since
gosh.
since my kids were 2.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Wait, let's do a
And,
little side. Let's do a little side note. Okay, why are they your favorite coffee? Are they
okay,
like,
so they have a number of varieties. It's Mayorga, Mayorga, run by Martin Mayorga, and he is environmentally friendly, and he actually helps all these farmers in Ethiopia, Costa Rica, Sumatra, all these places that you've never been to. And he runs a wonderful facility in Rockville, Maryland, and I could get it on the web. Their coffee Cubano is at Costco. I don't like coffee Cubano, but I like what I like. And they're going to come out with their winter blend in about 45 days. And I'm going to get 15 pounds of it to stock up on them because come February, it's going to be gone.
so for those of us that don't drink coffee, 15 pounds, like how long does that last you?
A year.
Okay. So that's your return on
And
investment.
it cost me literally 46 cents a mug.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
you priced it out.
meanwhile, Joe Coolface is spending $5.50 on a mocha dopa fracca, whatever it is. Okay. And they do that 5 to 6 days a week. Okay.
Well,
Now,
the funny thing is about Starbucks. I heard about the founder of Starbucks started at Pete's Coffee, and Pete's actually has better coffee. And he said, okay, he's like, I want to start a coffee shop. And he's like, okay, as long as you don't have good coffee. And so they made a commitment. And so they, they
that's
literally
funny. I've heard
started
of
it.
Pete's and I see their brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I thought that was
yeah.
interesting. And I think maybe it's more successful. At least it's more well known. Starbucks, they have
Yeah.
more
And there
stores.
are two other points I wanted to make. So instead of going out for $10 for lunch, what if you brought a sandwich? Carissa,
Yeah.
how much is a sandwich going to cost you to make and bring into the office along with an apple, for example? It's
Probably
probably going
about
to
a couple
cost you,
dollars.
yeah, $2.50 or less.
250. Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the year, according to Mr. Wonderful, you would have blown between $9,000 and $13,000 on this nonsense. And that's 9 to 13,000 that you could invest appropriately. And when I say appropriately, understand I am not giving investment advice. FINRA and the SEC would have a cow. But rather than buying a single stock for most people that are trying to build wealth, let them look at baskets of stocks, whether index funds, often called exchange traded funds, or mutual funds, rather than betting it all on this tech stock or that biotechnology stock. Because if it goes down, you're screwed. Okay. But if you own 500 stocks and one goes down, big deal. Okay. So it's making intelligent decisions and appropriate behavior.
Yeah. And you would call that in the financial market diversifying, right? Diversifying
That's
your
very, very
portfolio.
true. Yeah.
Okay.
So, when people have a lot of money, sure, they can buy individual stocks should they wish to. But when you're starting off, the problem is you don't know what you don't know. And if I had my career to do over again, I would have been putting all of my money into one specific investment whose name I will not mention. And I would have been doing that the whole time. And by now I would have owned Tahiti. Okay. Instead, I dabbled for my first 5 to 7 years and made ridiculous mistakes and blew a lot of opportunities and lost a lot of money. But I learned. I learned don't do that and avoid stupid.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you have another book called Hire Your Financial Advisor You. So does that mean hire a different,
Oh, fire.
yeah, fire, but I'm
Yeah.
saying as the alternative, does that mean
Yeah.
hire
Yeah.
someone who
So
knows?
when I say fire your investment advisor, if it's you, let me ask you a question. So let's say you're having dinner with your aunts and uncles, cousins, niece and nephews, extended family. How many of them? Okay, let's say there are 15 of them around the dinner table and it's the holidays. How many of them do you suppose would hire you to craft and create their retirement financial strategy?
I would say zero.
Okay. And that's good back of the envelope math, about zero. And the reason is that is not your specialty.
Right.
You may be a great IT manager, owner of a shoe store, run a gas station, be a mechanic, operate a bulldozer, whatever it is that you do, odds are crafting a retirement income strategy is probably not in your wheelhouse. So if it's not, then you go search for a specialist that can help you, a credentialed specialist. For example, I'm a chartered retirement planning counselor, which is a designation from the College for Financial Planning. My partners are certified financial planners, also a designation from the College of Financial Planning. That means we've done a lot of in-depth study on taxes, investments, insurance, retirement income, investments, on and on and on. So the point is that let's say you were a single young woman, 28 years old, working for, how's about the Commerce Department or the Department of the Interior? How does that sound? Kind of sexy, right?
Government.
You
Yeah,
live
it's
in Washington,
about as
D.C., you work for
sexy
the
as
government.
all those other jobs that I would never do in a million years, like drive a
Exactly.
bulldozer, be a manager of IT. I was like, yeah, I'm
Or
not
have a
any
shoe
of that.
store. Yeah.
Not even
Well,
close.
okay. So the point is, when you want to hire someone, you want to hire expertise for knowledge that you don't have. You want to hire someone that works with people like you. I don't mean people that are brunettes, that wear blue shirts, that are 5'7", or live in the Midwest. I mean people that are single, people that are government workers, okay? People that aren't making six figures. You want to work with people that work with people like you. On the other hand, if you're a CEO of a mid-sized manufacturing company, you have a golden parachute, you have stock options, 3 kids, 2 of them in college, a vacation home, debt up to your eyeballs, then you want to deal with someone who specializes in that bailiwick, not the government worker, single, working for the Commerce Department.
Oh,
Does that
okay.
make
So
sense?
you would ask a financial, I mean, that would be your advice to ask them, who do you specialize? Who do you work with?
Exactly. I
And
want
if
you to
they
work with
say
people like me.
everyone,
Yeah, yeah. If they say everyone is my client, I run.
okay.
Really?
Because you believe that each financial planner needs to be a specialist because there's so
Yeah.
much variety.
Now understand, obviously they will have some people in their book of business that are candlestick makers, butchers, bakers, etc. I get it. But for example, if 35% of their book are medical doctors, that tells you something. If 40% of their book are CEOs or CFOs or CEOs of publicly traded companies, that tells you something also. If 25 of them are in manufacturing, that tells you something, or nonprofits. Okay. So, you want to go where they have a lot of experience.
Are you still doing work in this area? Are you?
I still do some work, but I won't be doing it for long.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering what your area of expertise was when you
Well,
were in.
my area of expertise is crafting retirement income strategies because, mainly I've dealt with people that are on the cusp of retirement.
Got
I
it.
remember a long time ago, one of the insurance companies, I don't remember which one, called it the retirement red zone, which I thought was as good a title as any. Okay, within 5 years of retirement, that means ding, 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 you got to start paying attention. You have some important decisions to make, and woe be unto you if your brother-in-law is a CPA. Hey, have at it. That's fine. But if your brother-in-law owns a gas station, you probably need some assistance.
That
So,
makes sense.
I craft those type of plans because, for example, you have your investment dollars, you might have an IRA, you might have an employer-sponsored retirement plan, and then you're thinking, gee, when do I take Social Security? They said I could take it at 62, but they said I have to take it at 70. What do I do? That's a very good question. It's a very complex answer that needs a lot of review and analysis.
Yeah.
So the point is that there are some decisions that have to be made very, very thoughtfully. And you probably would benefit by expert help that's been there and done that scores or hundreds of times.
Why do you say that people spend more time planning their vacations than their retirement?
Yeah. Well, I've seen this firsthand. Okay. People don't think about their retirement. They think, oh, I have an employer-sponsored plan and I'm in this mutual fund or that target fund, and I'm not going to pay attention to it. But we're going to Atlantis in November. We got to figure out where we want our room to be facing. Do we want the balcony? There are 82 restaurants. Which ones are we going to go to? Which ones are we going to go to first? What shows are we going to see? Do we need to rent a car? All of this stuff they spend more time on than considering stuff that is urgently important. You've
Yeah.
probably seen that. Okay.
Yeah. In my own life.
And
That would be
I've been to
me.
Atlantis, so I know there are a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, I went on a cruise and we landed there, but there was a huge storm, so it was like
Okay.
part of the restaurant was closed down.
Right. Yeah.
Well, why do you say to get comfortable being uncomfortable?
Okay. So you've probably heard the phrase that most growth happens outside of your comfort zone.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm a very, very big believer in that. So my sense is that the more I'm uncomfortable, the more I'm growing. Now, I don't mean my waistline growing. I mean growing as a person and becoming more knowledgeable and more intelligent about the things in my life that are very important to me. So, for example, when I cash my last paycheck, how am I creating a synthetic paycheck? Have you ever thought about it? Is it uncomfortable to think about it? Most likely it is. So let's just say you earn, I don't know, $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year. You're an IT manager for whoever, okay? And so that 10,000, if you knock out your 401k contributions, your dry cleaning, your commuting, and all the stuff that you wouldn't have to pay for in retirement, and the fact that you're probably in a lower tax bracket, let's just say maybe you net out $8,000 a month, okay, of spendable money. Okay, Carissa, how are you going to create an $8,000 a month paycheck? Show me.
Well, after I pay my bills, setting aside a certain percentage to invest. Yeah.
So it's difficult and it
Yeah.
is uncomfortable. And the problem is that the vast majority of people that I've run into, when things become uncomfortable, they head for the door.
Mm-hmm.
You've
That's true.
probably seen that also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whether you want to call it burying your head in the sand, you know, however you want to characterize it, that's the norm. And that's why most people aren't wealthy, because they do what most people do. They head away from being uncomfortable. I remember back in the 80s, we had a manager that took everyone out to a bar every night for drinks and, the free cocktails, the little hot dogs and meatballs
Oh,
and
yeah, the
egg rolls and
appetizers.
all that,
Mhm.
the appetizers. And I did that for a while, and boy, did I love it. Okay. But I saw that literally a dozen people did that every single night. And one day I decided, this is before Al Gore invented the internet. Okay. I decided to go to the library and start cracking some books. And I did that 5 nights a week. I didn't go to the bar. Okay. Yes, I missed the appetizers. They were really, really good. But I became much more knowledgeable. And I remember a line that Jim Rohn told me when I was at a conference of his in Texas many years ago. He said, if you read 8 books a month, that's what, 96 a year. And the people that you're competing against don't. How far ahead are you going to be from those other people in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? And that was very, very, very compelling to me as I expanded my knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. You believed it.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
want to
drank the
talk.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Why not? So I want to talk about your other book, 18 Wealth Lessons that will transform your thinking. Can you pull one of those lessons from the book?
Sure. So, sometimes I have trouble. Which lesson do I want to pull?
You're right.
Okay.
I'm sure
But,
you have 3 favorites.
the funny thing is I was talking to someone the other day and he said, yeah, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I said, yeah, I wrote about that. As a matter of fact, that is the title of chapter 8,
Oh,
Getting Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. Okay. So we just spoke about that. But, one thing we could talk about is understand what you can and cannot control.
okay.
So let's say you're building wealth, you're investing every month out of your paycheck. Some of it's going to an IRA or a 401k or an investment account, whatever it is. So let me ask you a question. You ever hear of the S&P 500?
Mm-hmm.
Can you control it?
No.
You ever hear of the Dow Jones Industrial Average?
Yes.
Can you control it?
No.
You ever hear of the Federal Reserve and interest rates? Can you
Yes.
control them?
No.
Can you control tax rates?
I think so. I think so.
You have some input,
Yeah,
but
you
the
have some.
IRS
Right.
and Congress are the ones that control tax rates. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you control when you're going to die? You have some input. If you
Maybe.
lead a
Yeah,
healthy
if
life,
you're risky.
if you look both ways before you cross the street, don't get hit by a
Yeah.
bus,
Right.
don't smoke,
Mhm.
exercise, get enough sleep. Yes, you could
Right.
influence that, but can you control it? No.
No, your soul
Meteor,
probably.
car accident, T-boned by a truck,
Hmm.
hurricane, all of this.
Right.
So understand there are things you cannot control, all of those, but there are things you can control. And what you can control is one word. Do you know what that word is?
Your actions.
Close enough. Your behavior.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
the only thing that you could control. Well, you could control your thoughts, which lead to your behavior. Okay.
Hmm.
But that's really the only thing you could control. So if I know that I can't control the stock market, the bond market, interest rates, tax rates, meteors, and hurricanes, I know that if I'm going to retire in 40 years at age 65, and I'm 25 now, working in a sneaker shop at the mall, I know that I got to be putting money aside for my retirement every month for the next 480 months or 40 years. Okay.
Hmm.
That I could control. But if I
Right.
go to drinks and appetizers instead and buy the latest iPhone for $1,600 and get mocha frappuccinos for $7, I don't know that I'm going to be that successful. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what is Zen success to you?
Then success is opening your eyes and the realization that you can't let things just wash over you. You are in the driver's seat. You control your own life. And as a matter of fact, it was Dan Sullivan, who's another great mentor, taught me that your future is your property. And at first, I didn't understand that. Then I let it marinate for a while. By the way, things marinate very well with a glass of Cabernet. Okay. But I thought about that and I said, yes, my future is my property and it is mine to do with as I choose. And I could either choose poorly or I could choose well. That's what it means to me.
Mm. So what's next for you? More books on the horizon?
That's a good question. So let me take you back in time. I moved to Florida a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I started looking at the media. We used to call it reading the paper, didn't we? Okay. We still read the paper, but there's no paper involved. So as I was doing that one morning, I remember seeing some really strange things coming out of Congress and a number of blue states. And I remember thinking to myself, this is really annoying. I have to tell somebody. I just couldn't keep it to myself. So I started writing about it, and I wrote one page, and I called it my Sunday memo, and I sent it to friends and family. And they said, hey, this is good. You should keep doing this. Okay, because I'm going to read the stuff anyway. It's going to get me annoyed anyway. I might as well put my time to good use. So that birthed the Sunday memo. And that was during COVID. And after I had around 40 of them, my sister Diane called me up one day and said, you got a book here. And I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd written 6 books already, but I just did not have in my mind writing another book. I was very, very happy writing my Sunday memo. By the way, I couldn't contain it to one page. It became around 1,500 to 2,000 words. So when I reached my 47th memo, that became Erasing America, Broken Politics, Broken Country.
Oh, got it. Okay.
There are 47, they're not chapters, they're memos. There's 47 memos in here. And this morning, I was just working on memo number 88. So maybe I'll get another call from Diane. Hey, I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Okay. You're open. That's what matters.
I'm open to it. So, with that book, I created a website. I'm known as the Equal Opportunity Critic. So I created a website, eocritic.com. And on there, people can sign up for the Sunday memo. By the way, because I got more notoriety, I had to come up with a better name. So now it's the Equal Opportunity Times. They could sign up for the Equal Opportunity Times. It's free, comes out about twice a month, and it's around 3,000, 4,000 words. And there are videos on there. There are YouTube videos and my blog, and people could interact with me on that website.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing. It's been a pleasure connecting with you and learning about wealth strategies and mindset of the wealthy. I'll put your website and how to order your books in the show notes. So thanks for being on my show
Thank
today.
you. And the book's available on Amazon, which I think is the only bookstore left on the planet.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. That's
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
You're welcome and have a blessed day. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey, and join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.